Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into a huge challenge that pretty much every modern company is facing. How do we stop thinking of corporate training as just an expense and start seeing it for what it truly is, a powerful engine for growth? Let's kick things off with a number that should really make you sit up and pay attention: 49%. A recent study found that nearly half of all executives are worried that their own employees don't have the right skills to get the job done and execute the company's strategy. Just let that sink in for a moment. This isn't some minor skills gap we're talking about. It's a direct threat to your company's ability to compete, to innovate, and to win. But here's the good news. There is absolutely a strategic way to solve this, to turn that vulnerability into a real competitive advantage. So here's our game plan. We're going to walk through a 6-part journey today. We'll start by really understanding this modern skills crisis. Then we'll get into building a learning blueprint, engaging your people, using the right tech, proving the impact, and finally becoming a true champion for career development in your organization. Okay, let's dive right into our first section. You'll see pretty quickly that this problem is so much bigger than just a few missing skills on a spreadsheet. We're talking about a crisis that hits your culture, your risk profile, and yeah, your bottom line. And wow, this chart right here just lays it all out. When a company's culture is weak, which is often a sign of poor training, the rate of employee misconduct just goes through the roof. I mean, look at that, an 88% misconduct rate in weak cultures versus only 20% in strong ones. That is a massive, massive liability. But it's not just about dodging bullets, it's about keeping your best players on the field. Another study found that a staggering 88% of organizations are worried about holding on to their top talent. And it makes sense, right? When people don't see a future, a path for growth, they start polishing up that resume. And just look at the kind of skills that walk right out the door with them. We're not talking about basic stuff here. These are the high-value, super hard-to-replace skills like business strategy, strategic planning, and team leadership. That's a brain drain that no company can afford. So the big question is, how do we start to fix this? Well, it all begins with a huge shift in mindset. We have to stop doing random, reactive training and start building a deliberate, intentional, and really strategic plan. Now, this is so crucial to get right. A real corporate learning strategy isn't just some HR initiative tucked away in a corner. No, it's a core business strategy. It's designed from the ground up to directly support the company's biggest, most important goals. Building one really comes down to 4 key parts. First, you've got to set clear, measurable goals that are tied to business outcomes. Then, you analyze where you are right now versus where you need to be. Third, you pick the right tech to actually deliver the training. And finally, you have to track everything to measure your progress and prove it's all working. Okay, so that blueprint, that's your foundation. But even the world's best plan is going to fail if you can't get your employees to actually pay attention and engage. And as we're about to see, the old ways of doing things, they just don't cut it anymore. Yeah, the days of forcing people to sit through some boring one-size-fits-all presentation are over. Gone. Dead. Modern learning has to be interactive. It has to be personalized. It has to be challenging. And you know what? It should even be fun. It needs to feel less like a chore and way more like an opportunity. One of the most powerful ways to do this is through something called gamification. And no, this isn't about playing video games at work. It's about borrowing ideas from games, like having a story, challenges, getting instant feedback, earning badges, and friendly competition to create a learning experience that's motivating and that actually sticks. And if you're wondering, does this stuff actually work? You bet it does. The data shows that companies using gamified training see employee engagement go up by as much as 60%. That is a huge lift that leads directly to people remembering more and applying what they've learned. All right, let's pull back the curtain and talk about the engine that makes all of this go. Because honestly, you can't deliver personalized, engaging, gamified learning to everyone in your company without the right digital tools. Technology is the backbone of this whole strategy. This is where modern learning management systems, or an LMS, come into play. They're the engines that power all this, and they are not all created equal. You've got platforms like Docebo that use AI for incredible personalization, Litmus, which is a rock star at gamification, and tools like iSpring Suite that make it super easy for anyone to create their own interactive courses. And this is exactly why the market for these tools is just exploding. We're looking at a jump to over $27 billion by 2030. It's not just a trend, it's a massive shift, as companies are racing to build these digital training ecosystems just to stay competitive. But let's be real for a second. Spending all this time, effort, and money only matters if you can actually prove it's creating value. So how do you measure the impact and show the higher-ups that this isn't just another cost center? Well, there's a brilliant framework for this called the Kirkpatrick model. Think of it like a four-step ladder. The first step is just reaction. Did people like the training? The second is learning. Did they actually learn something? The third step is the crucial one, behavior. Are they using it on the job? And the top step, level 4, connects it all back to real business results, like higher sales or better productivity. And all of this brings us to our final and honestly most important stage. When you get all these pieces humming along together, the strategy, the engagement, the tech, the measurement, you do something amazing. You transform your entire organization into what researchers call a career development champion. I love this quote from Vidya Krishnan at Ericsson. She says, "The companies that outlearn other companies will outperform them." It's so true. In today's economy, the real competitive advantage is your ability to learn and adapt faster than everyone else. And you can see the proof right here in the numbers. This isn't just a feel-good thing. Organizations that are true career development champions are way more confident they're going to have a profitable year, 75%, compared to just 64% for everybody else. That is a real, tangible difference. And it gets even better. They're not just more profitable today. They are building a company that's ready for tomorrow. These champion organizations are stunning, 42% more likely to be leading the charge in adopting game-changing technologies like generative AI. They literally build the capacity to change into their DNA. So, we'll end with this question for you. It's no longer a matter of if you should invest in a strategic learning culture. The real question is, where do you need to begin? What is the single most critical skill your organization needs to build right now to secure its future?